Hello everyone! Let me introduce the accessories of the C19C DC charger. First, the main tester. Second, the USB disk for data download. Third, the wireless modules for cell voltage monitoring. Each module supports monitoring for cells simultaneously. The fourth one is the battery string acquisition wires. It is relatively thin. The fifth is the charging cable, which will be thicker. The sixth is the AC power cord. The seventh is the temperature monitoring module. Each temperature sensor can monitor the temperature in 4 different test points and has T1, T2, T3, T for labels on it correspondingly. The last one is the collection module, which can collect the cell's information read by monitoring modules. All of the accessories are shown there. There are cable connecting interfaces behind the charger. These two are charging cable interfaces. Red represents positive. Black represents negative. Then there are 2 small ports on the top. This is for connecting with the string voltage acquisition harness to collect battery string voltage. Red represents positive. Black represents negative. This is the AC power input socket, connected to the power supply with the AC power cord for the charge test. This is the power switch for the control of the power on or power off. Now let me introduce the front panel of the charger. This is the LCD touchscreen. All operations are performed here. There are 3 interfaces on the right. The first one is an antenna for a wireless networking connection and not available at the moment. The interface below is an extended port, currently used for temperature monitoring and wireless module communication functions. They are all realized in the same interface. We will introduce detailed instructions later. The following one is the USB port for data copying. There is a power indicator light below. When the AC power input is normal, the light indicates green. Before connection, please confirm the AC power breaker is off. First, connect the AC power cord to the tester end. There's a groove here. The groove faces up. Then plug into the AC input socket. Then tighten the plug clockwise until it can no longer be loose. It means that the plug is tightly connected. Then connect the other end of the AC power cord to the power distribution box. Next is the connection of the charging cable. There is a white dot at the plug of the charging cable. The white dot faces up. Then plug it in the positive port. Plug the red cable into the positive terminal. Then rotate clockwise. If it is rotated about 90 degrees and not able to keep rotating, indicates that it has been tightened. The same goes for the black cable. Ensure that the white dot faces upward. Then plug in the black terminal. Rotate 90 degrees clockwise. Connect the other end of the red cable to the positive copper bar of the battery. Connect the other end of the black cable to the negative copper bar of the battery. For the voltage acquisition harness connection, insert the red wire into the positive interface. Insert the black wire into the negative interface. Then connect the other end of the wires correspondingly to the positive and negative terminals of the battery. Connect the red clip with the positive copper bar of the battery to be tested. Connect the black clip with the negative copper bar of the battery. One wireless module supports monitoring for cells. Each module will have a number on it. It represents the corresponding number of cells that you will monitor. The module wire has 3 colors: black, red, and yellow. There are 4 yellow wires. The length of each wire is different. When connecting cells, please follow the corresponding number of each cell. Take 17 to 20 as an example. If you start connecting from the positive pole, the longest one represents 17. The second longest one represents 18. The third longest represents 19. The shortest represents 20. The black and the red clips are used for taking the power supply. The number of this module is 01 to 04. Clip the longest yellow clip to the positive terminal of the battery. Clip the second longest one to the positive terminal of the second cell. Clip the third longest one to the positive terminal of the third cell. Clip the shortest yellow wire to the positive terminal of the fourth cell. Be sure to clip the black clip to the negative terminal of the last cell. The red and black wires are used to take power for the wireless module. Its supply voltage range is 5 to 24 volts. For the red clip, we just need to connect it with the shortest yellow clip. That's it. Now we can see that the power light on the module starts flashing about 2 to 3 times per second, indicating that the power supply is normal and the wire has been well connected. This is the wire for the temperature module. As for the temperature module, it has several accessories. This is the communication wire and the temperature module. When connecting, we need to connect the communication wire to the module and the other end to the extended port of the charger. Now the connection is successfully. The temperature sensors on the other end can be connected to the temperature point you need to monitor. This is the collection module for receiving the data of wireless modules. It shares a port with the temperature module, as the extended port is occupied, so we can connect the COM wire in parallel with the temperature module. Now, all connections are complete. Make sure the AC power supply is normal. Close the AC breaker. Here is the sound of a relay closing, comes from the internal of the charger. Then the charger is started. After booting up, we need to set system parameters first. Press the settings button in the upper right corner to enter the settings page. In the system setting item, we can modify the time and date according to the actual situations. Then the second one is a data storage interval function. By default, it stores once per minute. The next one is the test step type. This is a 3-stage testing mode. In addition, there's also a step testing mode. When you want to modify the test step type, a password is required. The password is 833058830. Press OK. This is for modifying the test mode. As we need to introduce the 3-stage charging mode first, so we choose the 3-stage charging mode. About the other setting parameters, we generally do not make modifications. I will briefly introduce. The first one is an address configuration of 905 wireless modules. The second one is an address configuration of the temperature module. There is also a Wi-Fi connection. Log management and factory setting. For normal use, users only need to modify some parameters in the system setting function. For these other parameters, the default settings do not need to be modified. Next, let me introduce parameter settings of the 3-stage charging mode. Press the parameters icon in the lower right corner to enter the parameter settings page. These are the parameters of the 3-stage charging mode. The first one is the setting of the constant current stage. If set a current in 15 ampere to perform the constant current charging, when the voltage reaches a certain level, it will enter a constant voltage charging stage. Then the following is the charging time of constant current and constant voltage stages. And here is a setting for float charging, including the float charging voltage and the end current of the constant voltage stage. The float charging voltage needs to be modified accordingly. This is the duration of the float charging stage. Then the followings are basic information about the battery and settings of the stop thresholds. For example, this is the battery name, cell quantity, rated capacity, rated cell voltage, the setting of the voltage threshold, charging capacity. This is the upper limit of the cell voltage. This is the temp threshold. Set the upper limit of the temperature. Among them, the 4 parameters at the bottom are test stop thresholds. During the testing process, whichever one is reached, the test will automatically stop. In addition, if one of the charge time is reached, the test will also be stopped. So the parameters we just mentioned are all test stop thresholds. After modifying the parameters, press the Save button to save. If there is an error occurs in parameter settings, the system will prompt: the float charging voltage cannot exceed the charging voltage of the constant voltage stage. So we need to modify it to 54.1 volts. After saving, we can start the test. Of course, before testing, we need to check whether all cell voltages and temperature have been collected. This is the cell information. For these 4 cells, the voltage of each is more than 13 volts. That is correct. And the temperature of all 4 points has been collected. So it is no problem. Then we can start the test. Press the start icon. View the current changes here. As of now, the battery voltage may be relatively higher, so the current will increase a little slower. The starting test is completed. If you need to manually stop the test during the test, press the stop button here to stop testing. If you want to perform a step test, you need to modify the test mode in the system setting. Enter password 8330580. Then modify it to the step configuration. Press OK to enter the step test page. Press the parameters icon in the lower right corner. Now we want to perform a 2-step test. Let's set parameters. The first line is for setting basic information about the battery. For example, the battery name, cell quantity, rated capacity, and rated cell voltage. This is all basic information. Then for the first test step, we set a current in 15 ampere to perform the constant current charging until the target voltage of 54.1 volts is reached. Then there is a minimum test time. That is the minimum test time of constant current and constant voltage stages. There is also a maximum test time. The 4 parameters below are test stop thresholds. They are the same as the 3-stage test mode just introduced. The first is the voltage threshold. The second is the charging capacity. The third one is the upper limit of the cell voltage. There is also a temperature upper limit. If any of these four thresholds is reached, the charge test will stop. Now, I will create a new test step. Press the New Step button at the bottom of the screen. Then press the Test mode to modify. If you need to move to the next stage, for example, if you want the tester to take a rest for a while, you can select Cooling. If you need to continue charging, you can select Charge. Then set the charging current. Target voltage. Minimum charging time. Maximum charging time. Then the voltage threshold. Charging capacity. Cell up limit. And temp up limit. After the settings are completed, press the Save button in the lower right corner. Then you can start the test. If you want to modify its target voltage or the charge current during the test, you can just click the input box on the screen. For the charge current, for example, I want to change it to 14 ampere now. Then observe the changes in the charging current here. It will slowly adjust to the target value we set. The voltage is the same. Then we can slide left and right to take a look at the real-time charging voltage, charge current, and the monitored cell voltage and temperature. There are also operating logs shown. For example, I just modified the charging current, changed it from 15 to 14 ampere. During the testing process, if you want to stop it manually, when any of the stop conditions have not been met, press the Stop button at the bottom right of the screen to stop the test. If you need to copy data, make sure the charger is powered on. Insert the USB disk into the USB port. There is a data export icon in the upper right corner of the screen. Press it to enter the page. Select the data you want to download. Then press the Export button. And select a path to export.